You probably have a little brown bottle sitting in your medicine cabinet right now. You bought it for cuts and scrapes, maybe to clean a wound, and that's it. It just sits there, forgotten. But here's what nobody tells you. That same cheap little bottle? Pest control companies absolutely hate it. Because if you knew what it could actually do, you might never call an exterminator again. Today, we're covering 9 things about hydrogen peroxide that the pest control industry would rather keep quiet. Let's get into it. Thing number 1. It kills soft-bodied insects on contact. Here's the science, and it's actually fascinating. Hydrogen peroxide is basically water with one extra oxygen atom, H2O2 instead of H2O. Sounds simple, right? But that one extra atom changes everything. When it touches a soft-bodied insect, like aphids, mealybugs, or spider mites, it releases oxygen instantly. That burst of oxygen literally destroys the insect's cell membranes from the outside in. There's no escape, no resistance. It works on contact. The recipe is dead simple. Mix 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide with 10 parts water. Pour it into a spray bottle. Spray directly on the insects. Make sure you get the undersides of leaves too, because that's where they hide. 1 application, and you'll see results within minutes. No toxic chemicals, no expensive sprays, just something that's already in your house. Thing number 2. It goes underground and kills larvae. This is the one that really gets exterminators nervous. Most pest sprays only work on what you can see. The adults crawling around on the surface. But the real problem? It's underground. Larvae and eggs buried in your soil, just waiting to hatch and start the whole cycle again. Hydrogen peroxide goes where other solutions can't. Mix 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide with 4 parts water. Pour it slowly into the soil around your plants. As it soaks in, it releases oxygen bubbles, and those bubbles physically break apart larvae and eggs hiding in the root zone. Fungus gnat larvae, one of the most frustrating indoor plant pests, are completely wiped out with this method. And here's the bonus. That extra oxygen actually helps your plant roots breathe better at the same time. You're solving 2 problems with 1 pour. Thing number 3. It destroys fungal diseases that attract pests. Most people don't know this connection, but it's huge. A lot of pests aren't just randomly showing up at your plants. They're being attracted by fungal growth, powdery mildew, sooty mold, root rot. These create the perfect feeding environment for insects. Fix the fungus, and you cut off their food source. Hydrogen peroxide is a powerful antifungal agent. When it hits fungal spores, the oxygen it releases burns right through them. The mold literally oxidizes and dies. Spray full-strength 3% hydrogen peroxide directly on any moldy surface or affected leaves. Let it sit for 10 minutes. Then wipe it away. No scrubbing needed in most cases. Address the fungus and watch the pest population drop naturally. No exterminator required. Thing number 4. It creates a mosquito barrier on your patio. Summer evenings are supposed to be enjoyable, but if you live near water, a pond, a lake, even a damp yard, mosquitoes make that almost impossible. Here's what you can do instead of buying those expensive citronella candles or chemical sprays. Try hydrogen peroxide with water in a spray bottle and spray it across your patio area. The furniture, the floor, the surrounding plants. Mosquitoes hate the oxidizing environment it creates. It disrupts the damp organic conditions they need to breed and feed. It won't replace every method, But as a quick, affordable barrier before you step outside, it genuinely works. And unlike chemical repellents, there's nothing harmful to breathe in while you're sitting there enjoying your evening. Thing number 5. It wipes out. Ant trails. You've seen it. That neat little line of ants marching across your kitchen. Counter? Like they own the place. Here's what most people don't realize. Ants follow invisible chemical trails called pheromones. Destroy the trail, and the whole line falls apart. They lose their navigation. They scatter, and they don't come back to that same path. Hydrogen peroxide disrupts those pheromone trails completely, but it also does something more direct. It kills ants on contact, too. For that, use a stronger solution. Take 35% food-grade hydrogen peroxide and dilute it at a ratio of 1 part peroxide to 11 parts water. Spray directly on any ants you can see, then wipe the trail area clean with the same solution. You're not just killing the ones you see, you're erasing the roadmap for every ant that comes after them. Thing number 6. It's been EPA-registered as a pesticide. Since 1998, this might surprise you, because nobody talks about it. Hydrogen peroxide isn't just a folk remedy or a TikTok hack. It's actually a registered pesticide with the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Since 1998, hydrogen peroxide-based products have been officially approved to control bacteria and fungi on crops, both indoors and outdoors. So, while exterminators are charging you hundreds of dollars for chemical treatments, there's a substance sitting in your medicine cabinet that the EPA has recognized as an effective pest control agent for over 2 decades. The difference? Hydrogen peroxide breaks down completely into just water and oxygen after it does its job. No toxic residue, no chemical buildup, nothing left behind that could harm your family or your pets. That's not a coincidence. That's chemistry working in your favor. Thing number 7. It stops pest problems before they start. Most pest control is reactive. You wait for a problem to appear, then you try to fix it. But hydrogen peroxide lets you flip that around completely. Used as a preventive spray once a week on your plants and garden, it creates an environment that soft-bodied pests simply don't want to be in. The oxidizing properties make leaves and soil inhospitable to mites, aphids, and larvae before they ever get a foothold. Think about it like this. Exterminators make money when you have a problem. They have no financial incentive to tell you how to prevent one. But a weekly spray of diluted hydrogen peroxide on your garden could mean you never need to make that call in the first place. Spray the tops and bottoms of leaves. Spray around the base of each plant. Do it once a week and after heavy rain, because rain washes the solution away. Consistency is what makes this work. Thing number 8. It sanitizes entry points that pests use. Pests don't just appear out of nowhere. They come in through gaps, cracks, door frames, windowsills, and they're often drawn in by the smell of organic residue that builds up in those areas over time. Old food particles, dead insects, mold. Hydrogen peroxide is one of the best natural disinfectants for exactly these spots. Spray it along windowsills, door frames, and any visible cracks or gaps around your home. It kills the bacteria and mold that create the odors, which attract pests in the first place. It also sanitizes surfaces that insect eggs might be attached to, eggs that are invisible to the naked eye. You're not just cleaning, you're actively removing the signals that tell pests your home is a welcoming place. Prevention and sanitation together. For less than $1 per bottle. Thing number 9. It breaks down completely. Zero environmental damage. Here's the final thing. And honestly, This might be the most important one. The chemicals that exterminators use? Many of them linger. Pyrethroids, pyperonyl butoxide, various fumigation compounds. They can persist on surfaces, in soil, and in the air for days or even weeks. If you have kids, pets, or you're just someone who doesn't want to breathe synthetic chemicals in your own home, that's a real concern. Hydrogen peroxide has none of that problem. The moment it finishes its job, it breaks down into two things: water and oxygen. That's it. Nothing left over. Nothing toxic. Nothing that accumulates in your soil or your lungs. It's one of the rare substances that's genuinely effective and completely safe for the environment, which is probably why the pest control industry never mentions it. There's no money in it. Something that works, costs almost nothing, and disappears without a trace. So next time you reach for the phone to call an exterminator, pause for a second. Check your medicine cabinet first. That little brown bottle might be the only thing you need. If this was useful, hit that subscribe button. We cover practical home solutions like this every single week. And drop a comment below. Which one of these are you trying first? See you in the next one.